So, all right, here's the good old cold opener, and since I haven't been able to think of any good ones, they're just going to be would you rathers for a little while.
Okay.
All right, would you rather live in a barrel or live in a cave?
Well, barrels decompose.
Yeah.
But barrels are also portable.
And they are also mass manufactured, so you can also just get another one.
Very true. But a cave is like a home, and a barrel is like a mobile home. So I guess I would pick the barrel, so that way I can live in the same places I exist and piss people off in.
So basically you had the choice. Wow, I didn't even think about it that way. You basically had the choice between an RV and a rancher.
Pretty fucking much. Yeah. It's
Beautiful.
like, do you want to live on the outskirts of town, or do you still want to be inside the town? It's like I want to just like plop my little barrel on my shoulder, because I'm imagining, I'm carrying this bitch on a pair of overalls. So I just like plop my barrel down in the middle of the fucking agora or whatever, and just like, hey, you think you're smart? You're not so smart. Here, come over here and let me explain to you why I'm smarter than you. Here, touch my barrel,
please. People would like find you fucking insane though, right? Like I mean, I don't know, because nowadays, like, we're gonna get into the topic in a little bit, but like nowadays the equivalent to living in a barrel is probably living in a cardboard box.
Well, yeah, I mean, modern day cynicism is pretty much just conceived of as mania and homelessness.
Right, that's truth. Okay.
And we'll get into that. When we go into Diogenes later. We'll go into fucking Diogenes syndrome. One thing I did want to get into though was how the hell are you, dude? It's been so fucking long since we have talked from this coronavirus bullshit.
I know, dude. Like, you're fucking you're only 30 minutes away, and I can't come and see you. It's like, I don't know. I'm all right. I got a job, and it's okay. But like, I don't know. Life has been pretty dope. Moved into an apartment. Me and my girlfriend are getting along famously. Other than that,
pictures of fucking like Annapolis and everything reopening, everyone walking around with no masks.
Oh my god,
and shit.
dude! I was so fucking mad when she showed me that shit. And the funniest part is that when they opened up, they only really meant to open up for like the residents. But then once everybody found out that it was open up, it was just like, oh, fuck yeah, we're going to Ocean City this weekend. Nothing's even open.
What pisses me off, what pisses me off is like all the pictures that you see of people on the boardwalk, they don't even have like masks around their necks. Like they're just walking around with so their instant thought was, okay, so they lifted the fucking stay at home, whatever, the mask thing. So my first instinct is to walk where there's a ton of people. And not do anything. Not go in any stores or anything, just walk and expose myself to a bunch of fucking people.
Because they're fucking ridiculous. It's fucking stupid. Like, they don't know how to, like, let me put it this way. This is the reason why the government tries to keep things from us, because they don't think that people can actually handle it. It's the same. This is not how you fucking deal with a pandemic. You do not, like everybody was so fucking scared. No toilet paper, no disinfectant wipes, no hand sanitizer. People were so fucking scared, but it only took, 3 fucking months for people to start going stir crazy and fucking cabin feverish, Yeah. It just, oh god, people just don't know how to react to this shit.
I don't get this dual nature of the I don't know, rugged American type or whatever, where it's like, I gotta stock up and I gotta live underground and I gotta be ready for anything that comes. Also, 2 weeks of staying inside and I'm gonna fucking cut my dick off and kill myself.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's kind of easy for us to say that because we're kind of hermitish, but like, we have things, we have fucking hobbies and shit that we can keep our mind on. These people are just I need to go out and do something people. Like, these are the people that are like, man, the bar's not open, shit. Well, I don't want to get drunk at home, so I might as well go to Ocean City and get drunk on the beach.
Be fucking depressed like the rest of us, man. I just had my hearty breakfast of fucking kratom powder and depression. I'm ready to go.
Let's do it. All right. So, I mean, I've been good. How have you been? Like, I my life has been all right. Been kind of boring. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm coming out with a collab with, or excuse me, I'm not coming out with a collab. Saint Bubo is coming out with a collab with Cemetery Bastard.
Nice. That'll be cool.
The Bubo Bastard.
So is it going to be like you each have one long track, or are you each going to have divided tracks?
We're going, to what I understand, me and Bastard talked about it, and it's going to be, we're just literally collaborating each song. So his noise is going over Bubo's noise.
Okay, so you both are going to go on each song. Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be pretty fun. Hey, why? I thought I turned you down.
Fucking yeah, dude. I'm making a lot of music myself too. I'm like, my problem is I'm sitting down and writing more music than ever, but it's not music that I can necessarily do anything with. Like, the music that I've been wanting to write isn't like noise grindcore odium stuff, and it's not like I've been writing like a lot of alt metal. Like, it's, imagine Gent without like the so it's like all of like the melodic, like Evan Brewery sounding kind of shit without like the like shit underneath.
Yeah,
so
the fucking weird polyrhythmic like
tapping
and shit. Yeah.
So I just wrote a song like that, but I have no idea what, because it doesn't even fit in with like my alt rock shit. It's just like this weird, not happy metal, but it's like this really weird melodic shit I can't do anything with. So I was thinking about using it for the show.
Oh, do it, dude! Like, fucking, I've been like fiddling around with the good old Git fiddle, the acoustic Git fiddle, and I don't know. I've been doing a lot of like folk punk chords that sound really bluesy, which I guess folk punk is kind of bluesy.
I always thought folk punk is just down-tuned power chords.
Maybe. I don't know. Fuck it. So
anyway, let's get into it here.
Let's do it.
All right.
No, that's sweet podcast. So
we got Diogenes to present here.
We did, but we didn't go into our intro. Now we have to. Now we have to silence now.
Interior crocodile alligator. I drive a Chevrolet movie theater. Interior crocodile alligator. I drive a Chevrolet movie theater.
What up?
What's up?
What up? Take two. Fucking
take two.
Boogaloo. I am LordMikeBedlam.
I'm ScowlingAl.
We are not saints. We are podunk punks. We have we have a fucking great show for you guys today. Anyway, yeah, so AJ done said it. He done did it. We are going to be talking about Diogenes in the first part of this wonderful episode. So
why should we give a single shit about this barrel-wearing maniac?
Well, AJ, I'm going to fucking tell you. He was a pretty influential philosopher, a cynic, and it's hard to say why I enjoy him so much, but like his idea upon life was mainly, if you're not living your life to the fullest, then you're not living life at all. Or, you know, in other words, if you're not, doesn't matter how fucking mad you seem doing what you want to do, fucking do it, because it's the life that's actually worth living.
So don't live through the perceptions of other people, emancipate yourself from the perception of others, and just live according to your own wants and desires.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like a hedonism kind of thing.
Yeah, in a way, I guess. Like, I don't know. Would hedonism and cynicalism? What the fuck? Would they kind of go hand in hand? Maybe.
Yeah. Only hedonism would be a little bit different in that it allows for the pursuit of like monetary things. So like hedonism would also allow for monetary accumulation, whereas cynicism would have you sell all of your belongings and be poor.
Yeah, so it's like possessions don't mean shit, where hedonism is possession means everything.
Shit.
Yeah, possession means everything. So the way that we kind of did this research is that I decided to do the bio. AJ is going to talk about his philosophies. And then at the end of it, when we're all wrapped up and good, we will just go into some quotes from Diogenes, maybe some stories that we know. I might look some up while we're doing this just so we have a little bit more to talk about. But, so let's get into it. Fucking
Where do you live?
Diogenes of Sinope was a Greek cynic philosopher born in 404 BCE.
And for people who don't know, Sinope is right on the coast of modern-day Turkey.
Yes. Not much is actually known about his early life, except for the fact that his dad was a banker. Mm-hmm. And before he moved to Athens, he was banished from Sinope for taking a disbasement of currency.
Which is pretty funny. His father's a banker, and he gets thrown out for fucking up currency.
Yeah, pretty much. So he moved.
Fuck my whole family.
Yeah, I don't want to be a banker, Dad. I'm just gonna sabotage the fucking economy. How about that?
You can't make me play with your shekels.
So on the move to Athens, he wrote a friend about renting a small house there. But the friend failed to accommodate his need for a shelter, so he just threw his cloak into the largest empty wine casket that he could find outside of the temple of, I believe that is, I don't know, it's some fucking temple in Athens.
How do you spell it?
That's the problem. I spelt it so fucking tiny.
Is it Cybele? Cybele?
Yes, it's Cybele. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. So found the biggest fucking wine cask he could find, threw his cloak in there, and basically just called it his. And he lived in that same cast. Actually, I don't know if it's the same cast, but he lived in that cast in his entire stay in the city.
I wish modern property rights function that way. Like wherever you throw your cloak is where you can just set up.
Sir, my cloak is in your mansion. This is now my mansion. My cloak is in your Lincoln Town Car. Your Lincoln Town Car happens to be on my cloak, so it is now mine.
Pretty much. Wait till we get the fucking his best friend fucking crates of Thebes. This motherfucker. You'll see. Continue.
I don't know how to pronounce this person's name, so you're gonna have to try and do it for me. Antisthenes.
Antisthenes.
Yeah, Antisthenes. There you go. Friend failed to communicate. Blah, blah, blah. Soon he became interested in the teachings of Antisthenes. But it was rejected for after asking to join his school. But eventually, Antisthenes accepted him after much persistence from Diogenes.
Okay.
At one point, I read this too. His application was so persistent that Antisthenes tried to like run him off by beating the shit out of him with a wooden staff.
It's the only way to get those cynics to fuck off, man.
Diogenes took the beliefs to extreme degrees, underlining the belief in virtue, self-control, and rejection of all things considered unnecessary in life, like personal possessions and social statuses. he lived these beliefs very publicly in the Athens marketplace. So basically, he was that guy, the soothsayer, just in the fucking marketplace, like, you don't need these things. Why do you need these things?
Well, apparently he believes that, I don't think he's the soothsayer, but he was sent by a soothsayer because in that whole defacing currency thing, apparently that came after he went to the Oracle of Delphi and consulted them, and she told him to debase the currency. So this motherfucker probably thinks that he's on like a mission from the Oracle or some shit by antagonizing all these people.
The Oracle told me that your gold shekels will not be anything in this life.
Pretty fucking much.
He owned nothing except for his wine cask.
I'm on a mission from God.
I'm on a mission. Just toast burnt, please. Thank you. He owned nothing but his cask and a cup that he also used as a food bowl, but got rid of it after he saw a boy drinking water from his hands and eating food off of bread. So he's basically like, oh, fuck, I don't need this thing.
This thing was just weighing me down anyway. Fuck it.
So my last little bit before we get into his philosophy, one belief was that a reasonable life is one lived in accordance to nature and one's natural inclinations. Being yourself no matter how mad you seem. So he's basically like, look, if you want to do something, do it. If you want to be an old guy that jerks off on the street, do it. If you want to just rush into, who was it? It wasn't Socrates, was it?
I don't think so.
No,
Plato.
Yeah. If you want to rush into one of Plato's fucking class seminars and just scream at him about featherless bipeds, then fucking do it. All right. So I'm gonna pass it on to AJ for the little bit of his actual philosophies, and then we'll get into his final years after that.
So, as far as I'm concerned, Diogenes is the OG like anarchist, because
fuck yeah.
everything that he believed in was like a complete lowering or flattening of hierarchies. Nobody was above him. He was as to the dogs as dogs are to humanity, and vice versa. Like he was one with the animals were one with him, and he saw everyone else as just nonsensical beings and saw the absurdity for life as it really is. And he acted it out. He acted out the absurdities that we all kind of take for granted. Like, he would stroll about in full daylight with a lamp, and when people asked him, like, what the fuck are you doing? He'd just be like, I'm looking for an honest man. Does anyone know where an honest man is? So, it's, like the saying goes, like, it's hard to find an honest man. It's hard to And so he would take, like, these common phrases that people always, like, don't really think about but say and don't really take for granted. He would act them out. And, you know, he would masturbate in public and stuff. People would be like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's just like, don't mind me. I'm merely just scratching myself. Yeah. And the underlying thought to that is like, I'm enjoying the pleasures that I was given by being endowed in this body. Mm. And are you going to inhibit me from, you know, my basic pleasures in life because you can't handle the fact that I'm doing it in public? Like, he was that guy that subverted everything about norms that we take for granted in society, and that's why I love him.
If Diogenes was still alive today, he'd probably be in the free the nipple movement.
Oh yeah, not because he gives a single shit about women or feminism or anything, but literally because, people are taking their clothes off, I'm going to go over here.
Yeah, exactly. It's people are going to be, you know, free and do what they want to do. Okay, I'm going to deal with that. That's my side of the story. He
was a dirty, filthy fucking communist. Yay. Because obviously the debasement of currency, he didn't give a fuck about money. He wanted to live in a moneyless, classless society. So there we go. Well, I don't know if he actually wanted to live in a classless society, but he was very interested in pointing out all of the inconsistencies of within a classed society.
Right.
So I don't know what he advocated for, but he was one of the best critics of the overarching, norms of society, whatever. I keep referring to that phrase, but you know what I mean. But anyway, so this motherfucker was just strolling around one day doing his little dick hanging out maneuver like usual with his dogs, whatever, getting the dogs to lick the peanut butter off his balls, whatever Diogenes did. And he was captured and enslaved by pirates. Like, these pirates were just, "You filthy man, come over here." And he's like, "Fuck, all right, guess I'm going over here now."
I actually was going to write about that's actually something that I wrote down about it, because that basically happened in his later life.
And because of that, he was able to spread his philosophy. They took him from where he was to a new area. And so he further corrupted the youth there, whatever. And he taught cynicism to Crates of Thebes, who eventually taught it to Zeno of Citium. Now, Crates of Thebes is a cynic. He was a person who heard Diogenes, and I don't know if Crates of Thebes was already cynic leaning, and he was basically already a cynic and didn't know it, and Diogenes just explained to him what he was, or if Diogenes introduced cynicism to him, because it says that Crates was also of a very wealthy family and gave up his wealth, but I don't know if he gave up his wealth before or after he saw Diogenes. So I don't know if he was already a cynic and didn't know it yet, or if Diogenes got him to give up his shit. But regardless, he was from an influential family, whatever, money-filled family, gave it away. He got a wife. Cynics there's love for everybody out there.
Oh my god, he did? I didn't know he got married.
Get up the picture I have of Crates of Thebes. It's a picture of him and his wife, Hipparcha of Maronea. And they both respected each other. They both had a quality in their relationships, and that's why I think cynicism is the OG anarchism. There's no roles or anything. It is, we both provide, we both do an equal amount in the relationship, and we both respect each other for what we both can bring to the table.
We both scratch each other's stomachs.
Yeah, we both lick the peanut butter off of each other's balls. But apparently you can also be a cynic and be well respected. Like, if Diogenes was the asshole cynic that got up in everybody's shit and was generally the town jester, then Crates of Thebes was the lovable kind of crazy guy, but was still kind of well respected, like the vermin supreme, I guess, you know? Because this motherfucker would walk around town and find people that had their doors open and would just walk inside of their house and sit down and start eating their dinner. And every time he was welcomed warmly. He was just, "Oh shit, oh, there's Crates. Oh, come on in, Crates. Come. I don't know, shit on my floor. Do whatever you cynics do.
Let me wash
and
your
people
feet."
loved him. Yeah. And so
there was
it's
one. My bad, I didn't mean to cut you off. But there is one. There's one quote that I didn't write down, but I knew how to remember it. It was I believe it was Plato called him the mad Socrates.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Socrates just went up in everyone's shit "Yo, you think you know you're smart? Well, why don't you tell me why you think you're smart?" And Socrates would get people to basically question themselves into their own little corner and make themselves reveal what was wrong, whereas I feel like Socrates was tell and don't show, and fucking Diogenes is all show and don't tell. I feel
he's
Diogenes.
Cryptic.
Yeah, I feel like Socrates is tell me why you think masturbating in public is wrong, and then Diogenes just masturbates in public, and he's like, "I know I'm doing the wrong thing, but fuck you."
I know you think this is wrong.
Yeah, pretty much. Feels, pal. Your feels are that I can't masturbate in public, but the reals are that I got my dick in my hand, my friend.
reals over feels, dude.
But it's kind of cool. Diogenes taught Crates, and Crates became the favored version of what Diogenes was teaching, because he could actually walk into people's homes and I don't know, not be a shitster. And people liked him, which caused the philosophy to kind of grow a little bit more. And Zeno of Citium took what he was hearing and in cynicism, and he liked the whole, like, you know, living in nature and just taking things as they come and living out the absurdity of life, and he incorporated that into his school of Stoicism. And Stoicism, okay, so if philosophy is how to take a dick and the dick is life, Stoicism would be like, if you're gonna get fucked in the ass, you may as well get some calluses so you don't notice it as much. Like, you may as well get some calluses on your asshole because you're gonna get fucked. Like, that is Stoicism.
Pull up your big boy
cynicism,
pants.
Yeah, pull up your big boy pants and just get those calluses as fast as fucking possible.
And get fucked
whereas
in the ass.
cynicism is you can piss and shit all over the dick that's fucking you in the ass. Like, that's cynicism. Just piss and shit all over the dick that's fucking you in the ass.
Dude, you're not wrong. That's the best part. Oh, no. Oh, Diogenes. Oh, I love you.
Now,
Diogenes,
Zeno...
Dude, Diogenes is the fucking ancient Greece G.G. Allen.
I think G.G. Allen might have suffered from Diogenes syndrome, which we'll get into in a minute here.
Right.
But I don't know whether or not it can be said that, yeah, he is the modern parallel to Diogenes, mainly because he had no interest in the whole philosophy thing. Maybe he was like...
He was interested
Diogenes
in his own...
reincarnated.
Yeah, like, he was interested in his own philosophy. Like, Diogenes was too, but, like... G.G. Allen to a point where like it was more of an egotism than it was like a philosophy.
Yeah, like I said, Diogenes was more worried about like taking the norms of society and subverting them. G.G. Allen was just fucking insane and drug crazy. Yeah,
he was more instead of taking the norms and averting them, he was more of like taking the shit that is the outcast shit and bringing them into the light, but in a really horrible way.
That's still kind of subverting norms.
Yeah, I
said, one
right.
came from a philosophical approach. The other one came from like a completely fuck philosophy, fuck life, fuck everything approach.
Yeah, he was.
So one is completely. At least Diogenes lived a positive lifestyle, whereas G.G. Allen lived the negative. His was like fuck life, whereas Diogenes was like live life. Because life is what life is. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But,
like,
you know.
All right, go ahead. He was gonna. I was gonna make a really fucked up joke, but go ahead.
Well, so
self-control.
Yeah, Diogenes,
there you go. There's the Diogenes are in me right now. Self-control.
There you go. But yeah, Crates, Diogenes taught Crates, Crates taught Zeno. Zeno took Platonism and Cynicism and boiled them down into Stoicism. And Platonism, for those who don't know, the basic tenet of Platonism is that there's like the theory of perfect forms where, like, you know, you can imagine a circle and a circle is perfect, but once you draw a circle here in the real world, it has imperfections. So there's like the perfect world of forms that we can't attain, and then there's the world as is, as we perceive it through our flawed senses. And that also went on to influence Christianity, because in Christianity you have the perfect world of, you know, that Christ inhabits, or that God, whatever, inhabits, that we can't attain or achieve. And then we have the real world down here where we can strive for that level of perfection, but never actually reach it. Mm-hmm. So that shows how all of these philosophies kind of interlinked and how they're still relevant even to this day. How like Plato's theory of forms and everything influenced Christianity. Mm-hmm. And there's also that whole bit about how you said Plato came up with a definition for, you know, what is a human? Well, it's a featherless biped. Mm-hmm. And fucking Diogenes shows up and fucking butt-ass naked chicken is like, behold, I found you a fucking man right here.
Oh, hold on, AJ. Hold on. It didn't come out very well. Go ahead.
It sounded like I don't know, like a steam flap opening. It was like...
Jesus Christ, dude. Steam.
I know this.
Oh, the stink flap, more like. Jesus Christ.
The smallest ones like that tend to be the smelliest.
Oh my god, it's the worst, dude. I had pizza boli pizza last night with fucking chicken on it.
Oh Christ, that'll do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
But what's kind of cool and about all this too is like the interlinking of other notable individuals. Pythagoras actually influenced Plato's theory of forms, because when Plato first conceived of the theory of forms, it was with shapes. How, you know, you can think of a perfect circle, but you can't actually draw a perfect circle, and that line of thinking was influenced or introduced to him by Pythagoras, who we all fucking know as, you know, OG mathematician, Pythagorean theorem, all that kind of shit. Big into geometry.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
And mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Yes.
But
I also well, the other thing is how good those chicken patties were.
True, very true.
I want to find those chicken patties. I can't find them anywhere.
I'm all about the Mexican pizzas.
Those were good too.
Those were fucking great.
Anyway,
but that's all like how cynicism was founded and where it went. What is cynicism? Cynicism apparently is living in virtue in agreement with nature. So it's like we said, the anarchist principle of like not living up to anyone else's perceptions of you. Everyone else is just humans trying to figure out their way in life, just like you, and so you should live in accordance with yourself and with nature. I guess removing yourself from the elements would be a big no-no in cynicism. Like, you should just like living comfortably like we are in air-conditioned rooms and shit like that is a big no-no. You should live in accordance with nature, I guess, as we did like when we were fucking hunter-gathering species, whatever. But
well, would another idea of that be like doing anything that feels natural to you?
Sort of, kind of, only if like sometimes seeking like wealth and power and fame and shit like that can come natural. Like, you know, as a musician, I kind of want to seek a little bit of fame and stuff like that. And that's a big no-no in cynicism. You don't want fame. You don't want social constructs. So things that don't exist out in nature, you don't necessarily want to involve yourself in. Like wealth as a concept might exist in nature, in like, you know, the lion that has more meat than the other lion might do better off or something. But wealth in terms of like value or whatever doesn't really exist in nature. We have to invent systems of wealth. Like the paper, if you took our paper out in nature and gave it to a lion, it's not going to give a shit about your fucking money paper.
Yeah.
There's no like monolith that says like the US dollar in fucking 2020 is going to be equal to the fucking one ruple of fucking India's. No, there's like no monolith in nature that states all this shit. So it's all, any social constructs generally you want to kind of stay away from in cynicism.
Right. Okay.
You want to live a simple life without your possessions. You want to make like Jesus. Jesus was kind of a cynic. Kind of. Give up your possessions. Maybe not the whole live in accordance with nature thing, because, you know, Jesus was fine with living in a home and whatever, but only to a certain degree. You know, he said that a rich man has the same probability of making it into heaven as the camel fitting through the eye of a needle or whatever. So it's like, you can attain wealth, power, and fame, but only to a certain extent. Like Christianity, Jesus, or whatever, kind of puts that limiter on it, you know? So it's like cynicism goes to one degree, and then Christianity is like the limiter on it.
Right. Makes sense.
But that's pretty much like the base of it. Like it's living in accordance with nature, in accordance with yourself, yada, yada, yada. So modern day cynicism is mostly just characterized by like distrust of other people's motives, lack of faith in the human race, seeing people as motivated by like ambition and greed and materialism and shit like that.
Misanthropy.
Pretty fucking much.
Yeah.
And nowadays, there's no real cynicism. If we have medicalized cynicism, if you will, as a disorder. Like in society, we have determined that people who walk around and masturbate in public are pretty bad. And I guess in ancient Greece, you know, where they were also like fondling little kids and shit at the time, I guess they didn't really think that like public masturbation was all that bad. Because even Alexander the Great had respect for Diogenes. Apparently, it was said that if that Alexander were asked who he could be in any other life, and he said, if I could be anyone in another life, I would want to be Diogenes. And then he asked Diogenes who you would want to be in another life, and Diogenes was like, in another life, I would like to be Diogenes. So Alexander the Great is like, in another life, I'd like to be Diogenes. Who would you like to be, Diogenes? Diogenes.
Then there was the one where I think my favorite interaction, like I have two favorite interactions with Alexander the Great that I heard he did, and it was the whole like after a battle, fucking Diogenes went out and was looking through all the fucking bones and shit and bodies and whatever, and fucking Alexander the Great came up to him and said, well, what are you? He's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm trying to find your father, but I can't differentiate him from any of your slaves.
Pretty much. I was trying to find the bones of your father, but couldn't differentiate them from the bones of slaves. That's so fucked.
Yeah, and then your favorite one where he was like, "Get the fuck out my sunlight, Alex. Get the fuck out of my sunlight."
I want that painting as large as it can possibly be printed in my fucking house of just Diogenes telling Alexander the Great to piss off.
Piss off. I'm trying to fucking do this shit. Go away.
I'm trying to get this dog to lick this fucking peanut butter off my balls. Please fuck off, Alexander.
That boy ain't right.
Fucking, but yeah, we've essentially medicalized, cynicism to the point where there can't be cynicism. If you are a cynic, a practicing cynic, you're just antisocial. We write you off as antisocial. We write you off as crazy. We put you in a fucking institution, say, you know, you can't be doing these kind of fucking things. What is Diogenes syndrome? Men or women of any age and socioeconomic status can have Diogenes syndrome, but it usually appears as behavioral disorder in older people. Research suggests that it is most common among people with average intelligence who are over 60 years and who live alone. So I guess loneliness has a big weight in all of this.
I mean, it makes sense.
And loneliness can make anyone, going crazy.
Like, it makes sense because, like, Diogenes basically got, like, ousted from his hometown, so he had to leave his entire family, you know, so
and
the only people good.
Well, he probably didn't even mind that much. I mean, as a cynic, I mean, he probably like, okay, I'll go fuck off and live on my own.
Fuck this money shit.
You know what is kind of cool and goes back to Diogenes' anarchistic nature is that Diogenes apparently did once have a slave, but just fucking released him. He was like, why should I have a slave? If Diogenes can be alone, why can't the slave be alone or something? Like if Diogenes can live without a slave, then why can't the slave live without Diogenes or something like that?
You know what that translates to, like, to me? You know what that translated from in ancient Greek?
What?
Why?
Yeah, but why?
But why? You know, Diogenes, you don't got to keep rolling that barrel everywhere. You know, you got a slave, right? But why?
pretty fucking much. But you know what's crazy is this whole Diogenes syndrome thing. It says that, you know, research says that it's most common among people with average intelligence who are over 60 years and who live alone. Diogenes syndrome is that, like, mistrust and misanthropy and complete negativity viewing the human race, and, you know, the perspective through, like, extreme materialism and doom and gloom and all this and that. It's like, does that lead to being alone, or do people who are alone gravitate to that kind of stuff? It's like a self-fulfilling kind of thing, you know. Like if you're lonely, if you're a lonely person, you're probably gonna see the world through a misanthropic light. If you're a misanthrope, you're probably gonna end up alone. You know.
I mean, people can be misanthropic and still interact with people, though. Like,
think about the incel. Not all misanthropy is created the same. There's like the incel misanthrope, which is like, fuck the way society has made these women. Nobody wants to ride my dick because I don't know how to wash my ass.
or the MGTOWs, where it's like, there's a social construct of men doing something a certain way. Well, we're going to go our own way. You can go your own way.
You know what's funny is all these tradcon fucking traditional conservative.
I'm sorry, I still love that fucking word, tradcon.
Yeah.
Good.
All of these fucking people are like, why can't we go back to the way fucking the 50s were? Oh, fucking, the fucking traditional. But then when you talk about like, okay, yeah, 50s customs, like opening doors open for women and shit like that, then they go, you fucking social constructs that have men kowtowing to fucking women. It's like, do you want the traditional fucking lifestyle, or do you just want to cherry pick what you do and don't like because you hate women?
They don't know what the fuck they want. Like the whole reason why they hate women is because they can't get women, and they don't want to change themselves so they can get women. Like, did anybody ever actually sit down? Like, did any of these fucking MGTOWs or incels actually sit down and think, like, maybe it's your personality they don't like, not the fact that you're, they totally don't like the fact that you're, like, too real. Like, the whole reason why they don't like you is because you're too real. Like, you're gonna call a fucking, like, you're gonna call a little blonde girl a bimbo? Is that too real? No, it's because you're a fucking douchebag.
It's the red pill, man. It's fucking red pill, bro.
I bet it walks up to a chick, hey, you want to go out? No, thank you. Oh, you just probably want some fucking Chad, you fat bimbo. Like that. Like, your personality is the problem, you stupid fox.
And that's what fucking hilarious. What does it say? Like, let's take the Proud Boys for an example. What does it say that a group whose initiation process is smacking each other on the ass and having to, like, recite fucking cereal brands and do this weird frat boy shit? Is it no surprise that the group that has that stupid weird shit for an initiation process is also the same group that complains about, like, women in modern society and not being able to get laid? Like, we're not getting laid, guys, so let's go create a club where we go spank each other and make vows to each other and have this brotherly fucking fraternity and no girls allowed. It's what does that say to you?
Also, we're not allowed to suck each other's dicks either, so we're probably just gonna have to stick with jerking off. I mean, you can Dutch rudder me.
Pretty fucking much.
You can.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 sec. Hold this for 1 sec.
Yeah, good.
Anyway.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, we have medicalized cynicism out of an existence, and if you are a modern day practicing cynic, there's just a good chance you're just going to end up behind bars. So if you have Diogenes as one of your main influencers, I'd keep that as a big secret.
Yeah. Don't want you flashing your dick in front of a fucking playground.
Oh, real quick, symptoms of Diogenes syndrome may vary, but include poor insight or understanding of self-hygiene, public health, or safety, distrust of society or strangers, paranoia or general suspiciousness, aloofness or detachment, extreme social anxiety, obsessive-compulsive tendencies, excessive hoarding or collecting of household items and waste, unsanitary living conditions, poor nutrition or diet, unwillingness to accept outside help or intervention, fear or distrust of medical professionals and settings, hostility and aggression towards others, a distorted concept of reality, and skin conditions due to poor hygiene, such as dermatitis passivata.
Okay, so two words popped up into my head as you were reading those symptoms. Hoarders and conspiracy theorists.
And incels.
And MGTOWs.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
we were definitely on the ball with that. I think if you guys think
Hoarders can definitely have Diogenes syndrome because they can if they have like if their hoarding is caused by like some kind of brain degeneration, like something related to I don't know, Alzheimer's or something, then they can definitely get the aloofness and detachment. Like, what? Like, Dad, you sure are collecting a whole bunch of shit. What? I don't know. And like,
Dad, you got
the
porn
general
tapes from like the 40s in here.
Oh yeah, I sure do. Yep. I don't know. And then just walks away.
Dad, do you even know who the president is right now?
Is it Nixon?
But yeah,
that's Diogenes syndrome.
Yeah, dude. Like, if anybody watching right now wants to throw a group of miscreants that we didn't throw in here that you think might have Diogenes syndrome, please do put that in the comments.
Fuck yeah. So what else do we want to say about Diogenes?
All right,
here?
so let me go through the end of his life, towards his final years and shit. Okay. So Diogenes, as you mentioned earlier, AJ, Diogenes was captured by pirates and sold into slavery in Corinth. He was said to have...
Imagine how annoying he must have been as a fucking slave. Like, those pirates took him and were like, Jesus Christ, when can we drop this fucker off at the nearest fucking island?
Here's the best part, too, since you said that, because I was just getting to something. This is a good example of how bad of a fucking slave he probably was. When they asked him about his strengths, let me start with that. When they asked him about his strengths when they were selling him into slavery, he was said to have replied, "That of governing men."
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so he demanded to be sold to Xenides. I think that's how you say that. Xeniades. Xenides.
Yeah, Xenides.
Xenides. Yeah. He was demanded to be sold to Xenides, saying, "Sell me to that man, for he wants a master."
Oh, damn.
And because he was so charismatic, and he was so like literate, basically, he bought him. Xenides buys him, and he sets Diogenes to tutor his sons.
Those poor fucking kids. Can you imagine? Okay, go down into the boat hub, go into the bottom of the boat within the cabin with Diogenes and study. And they close the fucking cabin and you're stuck with a guy who has lived in a wine jar, in a wine barrel for his entire life, probably has never taken a shower, had dogs licking peanut butter off his balls, and you're stuck in a fucking like 4x4 room with him. Here's
like where it gets. This is kind of weird because most of this stuff in his final years, because like his early years they don't know too much about, but his final years are more of a legend and what just passed through time as fucking tall tale or whatever. Some of it might be true, but we don't know 100%. Most of it comes from one of his books. It was I'll send it to you so you can put it in the video.
Okay.
So when he does, Xenides fucking buys him and then gets him to teach his sons, and in time, he was just part of the family. Like he was not even really seen as a slave. He was part of the family.
Good old Uncle Diogenes.
Yeah, good old Uncle. Yeah, exactly, man. Living in the basement, fucking like just with all of his dogs licking peanut butter off his nuts. They lived with Corinth, or they lived in Corinth with his. He lived in Corinth with his master until his death at 90. His cause of death isn't completely known, but has been said to be from food poisoning after eating a raw ox foot.
Fuck, man.
Rabies from a wild dog bite, or suicide by holding his breath. Which, you know what's kind of funny, out of all of those, dude, I feel like the suicide by holding his breath would have probably been the best bet. Like,
I bet you it's because somebody told him to do something he didn't want to do and was like, you know what, fuck you.
why do I have to breathe?
It's like Diogenes, Diogenes, yeah, he was probably doing that. He's probably like suffocating himself and then like passing out and waking up because his body would naturally start to breathe again. And then someone was probably like found Diogenes half passed out, like, Diogenes, what the fuck what are you doing? He's like, I found that that breathing is a waste of time, but Diogenes, you have to breathe.
He's probably like, you know, I don't want to breathe anymore. Fuck it. Let's just
whole cellular respiration thing.
It's just
fucking
not
dumb.
Yeah, man. Like converting oxygen into carbon, like it's just not. You know, it's not me. It's not. It's not Diogenes.
It's not very Diogenes of you to breathe, bro.
Oh,
all right.
shit.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the college's fucking Diogenes Club. All right. For starters, let's all hold our breaths and die.
Why is that the beginning? That was towards the end
initiation.
of his life. The initiation.
You have to be a true Diogenes fan, right?
Man, what do they call it? The initiation closet. All right,
God, I don't know.
All right, new recruits, time to get into the initiation closet. Hold your breath.
Open it back up, everyone's dead, and the guy's just like, oh, fuck.
Two of them have their pants down.
Who the fuck? I guess if you're gonna die like this, erotic asphyxiation is the way to go, right?
Exactly. All right, so I'm gonna throw up on our Discord here. I'm gonna share our screens, and we're gonna go over.
I just wanted to say, if I ever die, make my funeral as awkward as possible. Like, no matter how I die, just say I died from erotic asphyxiation and was found with my pants around my ankles when I died.
Oh God, I can imagine your mom's face, dude. Oh my God, she would kill me. Oh no.
Oh my God, how did my son die? Michael, you were the last one saw him. How did my son die?
He died peacefully with his hand. He died peacefully doing what he loved with his pants around his ankles and his hand on his dick.
His thumb up his ass.
Thumb up with his butt plug. What do you call those little gem things? The butt gems? The plug gems?
Oh God.
You know
I don't know, but
about?
have you seen those things you can buy for cats where it's like the jewelry for their assholes?
Yeah, I want to get them just so I can say I have them. Anyway,
Get one for your dog.
so you said dog and Sandy just started flipping out. No. Anyway, I'm gonna pull up. I already have it on the video, but I'm sharing my screen with you. We're going to go over some Diogenes quotes and talk about them. So the first one here is, I pissed on a man who called me a dog. Why was he so surprised?
My man.
Yeah, dude.
My man.
That's pretty fucking dope.
That's basically, synthesized, that is basically the phrase like, give them what they want.
Yeah, you're going to call me a dog. How are you surprised if I act like a dog?
Just give them what they want. They want a fucking dog. I'll give them a dog. Unzips pants.
One original thought is worth 1,000 mindless quotings.
Ah, okay. See, and that's kind of what we're doing right now. We're quoting this man 1,000 times for having original thoughts.
Yeah. No man is hurt but by himself. Literally, how can he interpret? Literally by how he interprets. Yeah, literally by how he interprets what happens to him. If he focuses on how it could have been better, he will be hurt. If he focuses on how it could have been worse, he will be happy. The same is true for women too.
Oh, my dude. Well, he's getting the women in there. See, that's kind of cool because when Greeks talked, it was all like, he and man, and like whenever they said those words, like yeah, it meant all of society and everything, but
most times
you know,
they
still.
Good, sorry.
Well, men were also the only political unit. Like women weren't political figures at all. So the Greek way of saying like men and all that kind of stuff, they were referring to like the makers of history essentially, and that's what they meant by like men or like political units. Like so for Diogenes here to say like, oh, and the same can also be for women. That's kind of a big deal. That's like early feminism right there.
Yeah, definitely. Because like a lot of the times when you hear like ancient Greek quotes about women, or not even about women, but like women are pretty much shadowed throughout that entire fucking dynasty. Like it's like there were some influential women back then that got their time in the light, but like most of it was just overshadowed by men completely. Like literally women were the baby makers and the fuck toys. If they did something good, cool. You're going in the history books for like a page.
Pretty fucking much. That's why like all the philosophy that you read, it's like, and when man does this, man is also man. Like again, yes, they meant that as like mankind, but they also meant like men are the main like
mankind.
Agents in society, and
men are the main mankind.
Exactly. Women are mankind too, but men are extremely mankind.
Men are the mankind. We have 2 ears, 1 tongue. 2 ears and 1 tongue, so that we would listen more and talk less.
I like that.
That's a good one.
Watch your words.
He has the most, who is most content with the least.
That's a really cool phrase too.
Yeah, like
it's like you can have everything in the world and not be happy or content, but if you have like nothing and you're happy with it, then you have more than the other person.
If only it was easy to banish hunger by rubbing the belly as it is to masturbate. And look at the fucking the keywords: food, cooking, and hunger.
And look at the picture right next to it on the right. If only it was as easy to banish hunger by rubbing the belly as easy to masturbate, and then that fucking face.
He's right. It is not that I am mad. It is only that my head is different from yours.
Ooh, how do we define... is a mad society really the one to determine what madness is?
Who are you calling mad?
Diogenes in Joker makeup.
But oh god,
we live in a society.
Fools! You think of God as a sentient being. God is the word used to represent a force. This force created nothing. It just helps things along. It does not answer prayers. Although it may make you think of a way to solve a problem, it has the power to influence you, but not decide for you.
That is early pantheism if I have ever seen it. That's 100%. Fucking awesome.
That's a pretty fucking good one.
That's pretty cool that he's going around like calling people fools for like praying and shit like that too. Like he was the early edgy atheist.
Yeah, like he was definitely that guy that was just like, why are you praying? Nobody's fucking listening. Do something about it. Okay. Let me pull this back up. Sorry. We come into the world alone and we die alone. Why? Why in life should we be any less alone?
Because it's not fun.
Nah. People who talk well but do nothing are like musical instruments. The sound is all that they have to offer.
Damn, I like dude. That. I'm going to have to use that one.
That's pretty dope. He lit a lamp in broad daylight and said, as he went about, I'm looking for a human.
This one.
In a rich man's house, there is no place to spit but his face.
Yeah, boy.
Fuck yeah, dude. I am Diogenes the dog. I nuzzle the kind? Or kind?
I nuzzle the kind, bark.
I nuzzle the kind, bark at the greedy, and bite scoundrels.
Oh, yeah. So he's saying he nuzzles with the dogs, and yeah.
Yes. I am not an Athenian or a Greek, but a citizen of the world.
My dude, borderless all the way. Holy shit. He is a fucking communist if I've ever seen one.
100%. Education gives sobriety to the young, comfort to the old, riches to the poor, and is an ornament to the rich.
Hey, all right. I like that, because the rich...
I don't think I understand that one.
So scroll back up to it. Let me see it.
Education gives sobriety to the young.
Yeah, so sobriety to the young, meaning it calms them down. It gives them education. Just like, hold the fuck up. You're a little dumbass running around. You're fucking stupid.
Comfort
to the old. So like when an old person reads documents and shit like that, whatever. And riches to the poor. So education is everything if you're poor. Like education can make you or break you.
Truth. And
is an ornament to the rich. So if you're rich and have all the access to you, whereas if you're poor and have access to education, it's a huge deal.
Start that over. An ornament to the poor. So if you're rich, what?
It's an ornament. It's an ornament to the rich. So if you are rich and have all the access in the world to education, it's just something that's there at your feet. It's nothing really special to you. Whereas if you're poor and have access to education, that can make or break you. Education is worth millions to the poor, but is worth nothing to the rich.
Okay. I give that.
Or it's an ornament to the rich. Like, they wear their education, too, is another way how that could be said. Like, oh, yes, PhD, yes, master's degree, yes. Whereas the poor person with education is actually out there trying to change things, whereas the rich using education as an ornament is just masturbating himself intellectually.
Of what use is a philosopher who doesn't hurt anybody's feelings?
Haha.
Aristotle once asked what those who tell Jesus Christ. Aristotle once asked what those who tell lies gain by it. He said that when they speak the truth, they are not believed. So they don't. If you tell lies, you don't really have anything to gain from it. But when you speak the truth after saying so many lies, then you're not believed.
But he was asked, like, what do you gain by it? And his answer was that when they speak truth, they're not believed. So I guess he's saying that can be a positive thing sometimes. I don't know.
What, telling lies?
So Aristotle was asked what those who tell lies gain by it. Said he that when they speak the truth are not believed. So it's like, what do you have to gain by not telling the truth?
True.
And he's saying, well, you're not believed when you actually do speak the truth. So it's like seems like he's painting it in a positive light.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I don't know.
The most beautiful thing in the world is freedom of speech.
I don't think Diogenes fucking said that.
I hope not. Well, not
freedom of speech is like it's such a modern phrasing. I don't think if it were Diogenes, he would have said something more along the line. Yeah, he would have said something along the lines of like, for speech to be suppressed is for the like. He wouldn't have said like freedom of speech is good.
Yeah, discourse on virtue, and they pass by in droves, whistle and dance the shimmy, and you've got an audience.
Nobody wants to listen to my philosophy, but when I whip out my dick, I get crowds.
When Alexander the Great addressed him with greetings and asked if he wanted anything, Diogenes replied, "Yes, stand a little out of my sunlight." Self-taught poverty is a help towards philosophy. For the things which philosophy attempts to teach by reasoning, poverty forces us to practice.
Damn, I can kind of see. He's basically saying like you can't have a true perspective on poverty until you've actually lived
Been
it.
poor, yeah. He once begged alms. What is an alms? He once begged alms of a statue, and when asked why he did so, replied, "To get practice in being refused."
Alms is charity.
Oh, okay. And here's the one that here's the one we were talking about earlier. Our favorite quote. Plato had identified a man, or had defined man as an animal, biped, and featherless, and was applauded. Diogenes plucked a fowl and brought it into the lecture room with the words, "Behold, Plato's man."
I want to know what happened to the chicken after the thought. Like, did he just leave the chicken there on the fucking table and walk out?
I mean, he probably ate it.
I would have oh my God, eating and watch me commit cannibalism now.
Yeah, true. All right, let's take a look at the quote of the day from AZ Quotes, just because I hit it on accident.
And let's compare them. Let's juxtapose them with things that fucking Diogenes would say.
All right, Eleanor Roosevelt. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people.
That actually goes in line with Diogenes.
Yeah, in a way it does, doesn't it?
Because Diogenes was like,
cynical,
you fucking talk about philosophy, people keep walking by, but you fucking do the shimmy and everybody loves you. So it's like small minds discuss small things.
Yeah, like a jester is only loved because he is entertaining.
And you know what's funny is, what does the jester do in basically all Shakespearean plays and shit like that? The jester is the one who brings like all of the main criticisms to the forefront. He's the one that usually brings like a lot of the subversion into the play, like a lot of the subversive ideas and things like that.
I really like the idea that most modern plays and shit have that, which I'm sure wasn't 100% real, but the idea that jesters made songs and made songs that basically could go over people's heads just for the sake of being able to say something bad about that person. So and
jesters were sometimes the only ones who were allowed to have free speech. Like the kings just thought it was funny to have them around, to have a dude that shits on them every now and then.
Yeah, like fucking Henry VIII is just sitting there like, oh, it's funny because I am fat.
The mercury in my wig tells me this is hilarious. Oh.
Yes. Oh my god. Okay, so that
is kind of cool though, how the town jester has been painted over like the years. How like in the past, how the town jester was like the bringer of like subversion and like people who inject all these like thoughtful things into the play, and the main critiques of society comes from the jesters. And now the town jester is just the person you lock up and put away because they're fucking insane. That's like the medicalization that I was talking of like cynicism and shit.
You're
like
right.
That.
No, you're totally right. Fucking one of the ways recently that I've seen, I'm sure it's been done before, but I only really seen it excuse me, in recent books. I was reading I read the Game of Thrones series like at least 3 times now. And one of the jester in the book is there. It's weird. Like he got drowned, and then they brought him back, like doing CPR on him or whatever the fuck. Not literally CPR, but they basically just brought him back after being dead. And the only way that he can communicate now is through song and shit. But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but the thing that really makes him unique to me is the fact that the author uses him as mainly just foreshadowing. So like all the songs that he sings are complete nonsense, but according to like events,
kind of like the
books,
Nostradamus thing.
Yeah, according to events that happen in the books, he's the first one that actually knows what the fuck's going to happen.
Gotcha. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like,
I mean, that's the whole like madman is actually the sane one.
Yeah, which technically he's not really the sane one, but it's more like it's more underlined that he has like some kind of power after being drowned. Because like in that book,
touched by God, he's special.
Yeah, like in that book, there's like fucking 8 different gods and shit. Like every culture has their own god, and then this culture has like the main culture, like the civilized quote unquote culture, has new gods and old gods, and then part of that civilization has like a what they call a drowned god that fucking lives in the ocean. So one of their initiations to being a soldier is like holding you under the water until you die and then bringing you back.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Like so he actually got like in a shipwreck and shit and died, but then got brought back through like a CPR method that they use. And his mind he was dead for so long his mind was fucked, but their idea is that the god is talking through him and warning people what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty fucking cool in my opinion.
It's like a cool dynamic that doesn't really get written about much anymore. Like you don't even hear, that's not even a trope much in modern day movies or media in general, of like the one special person who's like touched in a special kind of way, be it magically or by God, it gets some kind of thing through the universe, message, whatever, and is really cryptic or whatever, and nobody really gets him. They push him off to the side, but then it turns out he was the true bringer of the apocalypse, or the true revealer of knowledge or whatever. And
it really upset me that they didn't put him in the show. Like,
yeah.
Well, I started reading the book around the time that the show was supposed to bring him in. So, like, I was actually really upset they didn't put him in there because he had a lot to put into the book. Or he had a lot to do with the book. But very subtly, if I remember correctly. Anyway, so that is our shit on Diogenes.
Well, real quick, I just wanted to say, let me clarify. As the whole trope of like the crazy person being the revealer of truth, the Nostradamus kind of cryptic revealer or whatever. When I said that trope isn't really done in modern times, it definitely is done, but it's done differently. It's no longer the town jester, like the dedicated crazy person that everyone acknowledges is crazy. But what we see now more of is the depiction of the mad, the crazed, the jester, the town jester, whatever, is the guy that's got the perfectly normal life, and then he finds some kind of information, and then in trying to depart that information or tell people that information, he gets construed as mad or as crazy. There's no longer this central figure of craziness. It's more of a person being turned crazy by society, which might actually be a reflection of the whole medicalization of cynicism.
Yeah. Definitely, that I feel like that has a lot to play into it. What's a good example? Fucking I know it's based off the Odyssey and shit, but Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? They have that fucking the black dude that was doing the railroad car and shit, and he
touched by God.
Yeah, he's touched by God. Nobody knows who the fuck. I have no name. You know, like he is the foreshadowing in that movie. And
right.
There's another movie I'm trying to think of that has kind of the same thing, but remember Home Alone 2? The chick, the pigeon lady?
Yeah.
Yeah, like she was like all like supposed to be the bad guy, or like brought up to be the bad guy, but it turns out she helps him in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers. Like,
yeah, the one who's mad is actually the holder of virtue or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Because she's the pigeon lady, dude. What the fuck is she doing feeding those pigeons? She's just fucking bored, I guess.
So it's kind of cool how, like, we don't have the town jesters anymore. So if you were to try to depict that nowadays, it would be a dated thing. Like, there would be no relevance. Like, people wouldn't, like, what the fuck, town jester? That's not relevant to me. But nowadays, since we have medicalized the town jester into actually being fucking crazy and mad, that's what we get in our movies, is the person that just gets deemed mad or crazy instead of starting off as the town crazy person.
Would you say that modern day gestures? Fuck, dude, I need to get more sleep. Would you say that the modern day jester is probably like stand-up comedians?
Maybe like political stand-up comedians, or maybe like Vermin Supreme.
Yeah, I feel that.
Maybe not
know.
Vermin Supreme. Well, actually, yeah, because Vermin Supreme is like, think about that whole you talk politics and people go by in droves, but you do the jest and people fucking love it. That's what Vermin Supreme is doing. He's doing both at the same time. He's saying, he's subverting the whole seriousness of politics by going, if you vote for me, everyone will get a pony. Everyone will get a pony, and I will have mandatory tooth cleaning check stops to make sure that you don't have any cavities or anything like that. So it's like he's implanting all the absurdness and everything to kind of play with the way people perceive politics.
See, but that's the thing, though. Would you have to be inherently political in order to be a jester?
I would say a jester holds no real relevance as long as, let me put it this way, I guess there's two kinds of jesters, and one would be like on the left hand side of the spectrum, the jester that just stands there and plays the fucking lute and looks dumb and juggles or whatever. There's that jester, the Greek painted person sculpture that just sits there and does this while other people exist in the fucking room. That's one kind of entertainment jester, and then there's the actual, I think, like archetypal jester, the one that I'm talking about, the bringer of knowledge, the whatever, the one that is the critique of society. That's what I always picture as a jester, the person that's always got something shitty to say about what's happening.
Well, I kind of always imagine jesters being like they're also very like you said, they're very critical of society, not just like politics, though.
Politics is society.
Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. Anyway, I guess that's it on our Diogenes little.
Yeah, Diogenes
biop.
quite. What I like is how a lot of people think like, oh, Diogenes, he just like didn't fucking wipe his ass and just fucking dick out in public, fucking whatever. But he actually had some pretty cool proto philosophies that people took and went different ways with, like the whole Platonism and the whole Stoicism, the whole all of it. I mean, like I said, Diogenes met Crates, met Zeno, and they all kind of blossomed.
Well, I kind of had this thought while we were doing this. I didn't really think about it while I was researching, but do you think, like, what kind of things do you think have branched off from cynicism that I don't know, that probably be more modern? Like, I guess it's not modern, but like when we're talking about like ancient fucking Greece, it'd be more modern. But like back in like the 1400s to like the 1700s, maybe 1800s, there was like libertinism. You know, like it's kind of the same thing, but I feel like that's just more based around like sex and shit. You know, like
yeah, and there's the whole wealth and
here's a better
opulence.
question. Here's a better question. Would libertinism be hedonism or cynicism?
Libertinism, cynicism doesn't like social constructs and it doesn't like money.
Mm-hmm.
So libertinism has to do with money. Well, it doesn't have to do with money, but it doesn't really say you have to get rid of your possessions or anything.
Most of the people that were libertines, though, were aristocrats, though. So I guess
exactly.
So I guess it would have a lot more to do with money. So it'd be hedonism.
Libertinism is like extreme excessivism and shit like that, even sexually and stuff like that. So yeah, it makes sense that people who are most able to be libertines or liberal with their sex or whatever also have access to all these social things that would make sex easier to attain and have and do.
Like BDSM.
Pretty much.
I mean,
But,
technically, I guess that is basically libertinism because BDSM, you know,
in terms
sadism.
of like how like modern day cynicism, that's what I meant by like the whole medicalization of it all. Nowadays, you wouldn't see cynicism; you would just see people that's medicalized, like they have antisocial disorder and they have misanthropic perceptions of reality, and they have this and that and this and that. But I think the closest thing that still lingers might be Stoicism. And Stoicism is that just like take nature, whatever gives you on the fucking chin, take it up the ass, get those calluses, whatever.
I guess technically that would be libertinism too.
Yeah, literally take it up the ass.
Yeah.
But I think aside from like getting into like negative medical diagnoses and shit like that, I don't know if there's any like positive way to have cynicism nowadays without ending up in a fucking mental institution.
Probably not. I mean, it is based around like natural. Like, I don't think anybody could really be a naturalist anymore. I don't think people could. Like, I'm sure like you could live off the grid, live in the woods and shit. But the moment that you like are found, people are gonna try and like bring you back to society and shit. Like that one
living
kid
on government land.
Yeah, like that one kid that was literally raised by wolves, and like, they immediately found him or her, I can't remember what it was, and they brought him back to society, and it's like that's what they knew, like that's everything they knew from a point where they were just a really young kid. So like I don't know where I was going with that, but either way, like that's what it was. I don't think nowadays you can't really be a naturalist. You can still hunter gather. That's one of those things where it's still a social norm to go out and hunt and eat what you caught, or fish and eat what you caught. But if you don't have like accommodations and shit, like,
and you can't,
if
like,
you're not paying taxes and shit.
Yeah, and you can't like dam up rivers so that way they flow in your direction. Like, you're still living on government land that you can't really alter too much. Like, yeah, you might be able to go, like you say, live off grid and make your own little solar panel house and this and that. But one that's extremely like hard to do in this day and age, to just uproot yourself, go live out in the fucking woods and start your own little solar panel fucking commune project.
Yeah, I don't think ever since like the Unabomber, I don't think you could do that. Like
the anarcho-prims keep fucking trying. But
oh fuck, dude! Oh my fuck! We are stupid. We are stupid and wrong. Damn it. We're on fucking Spotify, by the way. Check out
Spotify.
Yeah, go look us up on Spotify. The Podunk Punks. Right now, we only have 2 episodes on. This one will be on it. If you're listening to us on Spotify, check out the video on our YouTube channel. Just look up, Podunk Punks. If you like what you hear and you feel like throwing us some money so we can do it more often, check out our Patreon.
Yeah.
We are the fucking Podunk Punks.
Let's summarize here, okay? And since this episode was Diogenes, let's leave on how Diogenes would want us to leave. Subvert public norms, or subvert norms publicly. Sell all your possessions. Maintain equality in your relationships. If you fuck someone in the ass, you get fucked up the ass. No relationship roles.
Money sucks.
Cleanliness is a social construct. Who needs it?
Money sucks.
Money sucks. Debase it. Wipe your asshole with the Benjamins.
Burn the Benjamins.
Burn the Bens.
Sell your house, leave in a barrel. And get the peanut butter licked off of your nuts by wild dogs.
There you go. There you go. There you have it.
I still think it's fucking hilarious that we keep using that joke, even though peanut butter was fucking made like 3,000 years later or some shit.
Olive oil spread. I don't fucking know. Whatever them Greeks were.
Whatever those Greek dogs fucking lick off of their balls.
Yep, exactly.
Did they have grape jelly? I'm sure they would use grape jelly.
I'm sure they had grape jelly. I'm sure the Greeks had some kind of jelly that was all over their balls.
So, do you want me to tell you where this idea came from? We should do Diogenes before we head out.
Sure.
I was watching Caligula again.
Nice.
And that's all I have to say.
Okay.
And I just, for some reason, I was just like, you know what? Diogenes can put his fist in my ass any day.
There we go.
So
that's how you take a lesson from Diogenes, by the way. Diogenes sits you down, and he bends you over, and he puts his fist in your ass and works your mouth like a puppet, and recites his own philosophy with his hand.
Beautiful.
So he he gets you to mouth out his philosophy. With his hand up your asshole.
You're like
the fucking frog.
You're like a Greek Muppet.
Yes, Greek. That fisting is just Greek Muppet. That is the new fucking fisting.
Oh my god, I am putting that on fucking Urban Dictionary. The Greek Muppet.
Not even like this. Closed fist punching the asshole till it goes through. Just punching the asshole until eventually it just...
The big bird.
Oh my god.
All
the
right.
wing.
So that is our show. I am Lord Mike Bedlam.
And I am Scoop La Poop.
And we are not saints. We are the Podunk Punks. See you guys next time. Check out all our shit.
Yeah.
Later.